Let's bring in Anthony Seaboyer, a national security expert. Anthony, thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Roger.
What can we expect at the start of this inquiry?
So first of all, what's going to be looked into is to which extent can information be shared. The problem there is we need to protect sources and methods. So with any information, a class of information that's shared, the risk is always that those that provide that information are going to be threatened because it becomes public what is known. Adversaries can see, potentially how we access that information. So the key is first of all to protect sources and also methods of access. But then it's going to be about what is India doing additionally to what we're seeing from Russia and China. We have a lot of evidence of foreign interference from China and to a large extent also Russia. Not so much India. India hasn't been so much on the radar, but it's clear that India has an elaborate infrastructure for foreign influence campaigns. I don't think we've been targeted of that so much in the past, but that may have changed recently. And I think it's very good that we have this expanded now to India, include India.
I was going to say, has this been going on for a while, or is it because of the digital age we're in now?
It's totally because of the digital age. The abilities to influence elections, influence democracies, particularly now with artificial intelligence applications where we have these so-called deep fakes that are for the human eye not distinguishable. So you'll have videos depicting politicians as saying things they would never say that for the average person are not identifiable as fake, deep fake videos, or the same can be done with audio. So we're in a time where it's easier than ever to manipulate citizens in elections. And that's why it's very important that we have these inquiries that look into what foreign actors are able to do and also how our government can detect this and react to this.
Now, is there a political balance with this, though, too? China is probably one of our largest trading partners. India is a growing trading partner. This has to be handled delicately.
Well, it's certainly India as a partner where we have a lot more in common generally than compared with China, for example. There's similar values. They're a very important partner in the region. And there has been generally good relationships up until recently. We've seen challenges in the past months, obviously, with this plot to kill citizens or people on our soil, which of course can't be accepted by any sovereign state. But generally, it's a very important partner in the region. And the government is trying to improve relations with India again.
And is this how serious a threat is it? I mean, could this lead to almost an overthrow of the government in some ways, or political change?
Well, at this point, this is like a key question. We cannot prove actual behavioral change based on these influence operations. We can see what they're doing, how they're doing it, when they're doing it. We can also see who engages with this, who spreads this further, and who you watches this basically eyes on content, but we can't actually prove behavioral change, so election change based on these operations. So I think there's a huge potential, but at this point, our democracy is very stable, and I don't think it was having any decisive effect on either of the past two elections. But we have to be very alert, and these new changes in technology can certainly make it much more effective than it was in the past.
How do you protect against it?
Well, number one is to make Canadian citizens aware of this. So we tell them, we inform them about who's doing what, when, how, and why, what it looks like, make them aware that just because you see a video, it doesn't mean it's actually accurate, even if it looks accurate. So the number one thing is education. Education leads to inoculation. We see this in countries like Finland and the Nordic states. They're very effective, also the Baltic states, in informing the public generally about what these acts are doing, what it exactly looks like. So when they see it, they have a bigger chance of detecting it themselves.
Does the government need to take more control of the internet? Would that help within the country?
I think that's a very double-edged sword and a slippery slope to an extent. I think we have good measures in place. I think the public education is the most important way to deal with this. Civil society in a free democracy can deal with this. It's all about critical thinking and media literacy of the public that the government should enhance training for.
And do you have hope for this commission that it will accomplish things like that?
Absolutely. I think it raises the attention. Like us having this discussion now is exactly what we need to make aware of the public who is doing what, how, and why, and how we can defend against this. I think this is essential that it's been widened to include even India. Even if it's not a primary target, I would argue like Russia and China are, it's still essential that we see what are they doing and how can we prevent any kind of interaction from them in terms of our elections.
Okay, Anthony, thank you as always for your insight.
Thank you, Roger.
Anthony Seaboyer, national security expert.